Hello, subscribers and viewers of AVG News. My name is Mxolisi Ncube, and I'm the editor of African Voice Global News. Today, I want to talk about something that has become a serious problem, especially for those who believe that the Ndebele Kingdom should be revived. And I'm going to talk here about how this concept, which was supposed to be a uniting one for the people, has become their biggest source of division. And I'm going to mix the languages for the benefit of those who are interested in this, who especially have requested me to address them in our mother tongue, which is isiNdebele. Lizobakwazi ukuthi last week we saw some posters being circulated to the effect that the man who calls himself Mxolisi Ncube was going to address people at Berea Park on Saturday. The reason behind this address, or the theme of this address, was called the mass exodus of the Ndebele people, Zimbabwean Ndebele people, abakamthwakazi, from South Africa back home to Zimbabwe. It was supposed to be a call for people of Ndebele origin to relocate to their home country, which is Zimbabwe. I interviewed the spokesperson of one of the claimants to the Ndebele throne, uBulelani Lopengula kaMzilikazi. The spokesperson is Bondman Khumalos, who warned people against following this other claimant, ozibiza uMzilikazi too, Stanley Raphael Khumalo, whatever people decide to call him. And then after that, I interviewed the spokesperson of Stanley Raphael, and the spokesperson is Mr. Greta Sibanda, who said that he's not going to say much, he's not going to, because he didn't want to preempt the address by his boss, Stanley. Now, Saturday is come and gone, and the mass exodus is supposed to be on the 28th of this month, which is this coming Saturday. There is something that is worrying me a lot about this thing, eyobukosi. When it was first conceptualized, it was viewed as the glue that is going to unite the people of Matabeleland, because those who believe so much in culture thought that the people of Matabeleland are not going anywhere, that because they are disunited. And they believed that the people are so disunited because they don't have a glue that is going to hold them at the center, which was going to be the central point of rallying them. And they thought that having a king who would then preside over the chiefs that we have, would have the people having somewhere to take their grievances, and having somewhere a central point which is going to take their grievances to government. But over the years, we've realized that this issue of a kingdom has divided the people even further. First, because it seemingly has now been shifted to try and re-establish the Ntungwa Anglo-colonial agenda, to re-establish Ndebele superiority over people of Matabeleland region. But not only that, it has further divided the people because there seems to be no agreed person, or no person that the people of Matabeleland are agreed upon as their king. with more than 4 claimants at least. I mean, now we have Upulelani, we have Uzwide, we have Ustenli, we have another one called Mxolisi. And the people now don't know who they should look up to as their king. They don't know who the genuine one is. But I'll talk here about ababili bangikhona who happened to be Ubulelani lo Stanley. I say this because I am realizing ukuthi this division is not going to end well. I'm realizing ukuthi none of the people who seem or who are claiming to be the kings or who claim to be having some bit of knowledge over this are concerned about the kind of division this has brought to the people. Ustanley, when he was addressing, and his seems to be the most ridiculous claim ever, his seems to be the most ridiculous vision ever. He comes here, he tells abantu ukuthi kumele bahambe, and he doesn't even care ukuthi the people that he's addressing are already sitting on a time bomb with right-wing organizations and vigilante groups like Operation Tutula, Patriotic Alliance, Action SA, already up in arms against Zimbabwe. And then he comes here, he claims to be the Zimbabwean's king, the Matabeleland king, and he says people should go back home. He has prepared a place for them, when he knows that he's just clowning his way to personal glory. I was there at Pagin on Saturday, and nothing that this guy says seems to have any sense. Nothing that he says proves that he is what he claims to be. You cannot be talking about being a king of the people ubukhuluma ngale ndlela lo muntu akhuluma ngayo. Ukhuluma ngamaphupho ukuthi waphupha, ukhuluma ngokuthi yena abantu kababuye ekhaya, is prepared indawo for them, and all this is wishful thinking. Nothing that he says carries any weight. And with all due respect, this is somebody who seems to have lost his mind. Nothing about him seems to be genuine. And we have people who are running after this guy, clapping hands for him, calling him a king, even misleading our people into believing. When you listen to this guy and the things that he says, the source of where this claim to the throne comes from, you'll be forgiven for believing ukuthi lo muntu akaphelelanga. And we want to rally behind such a person. Are we that petty as people of Matabeleland? Are we that desperate ukuthi umuntu can just come from wherever they come from, abuya afika to inkosi yethu, and then we listen to him simqakezele ekhuluma izinto ezinjengalezi? Yini kahle kahle kudumeni emakhanda ethu? And I'm going to say this. I don't care what people are going to say. I don't care ukuthi ngizophathwa njani after this. But whoever is following this Stanley guy, I don't think ukuthi uphelele la ekhanda. And I'm saying this based on what this guy was saying and how he presents himself. You cannot be a king and behave in such a way and speak things like ezinjengalezi. Uclaim ukuthi wena waphupha, therefore kukangaka isiphupha sibamba ama-millions, so kumele sivuke sema-bank sithi sesingama-millionaire. Bantu basematabeleland asingabi yinhlekisa phandle le. And this guy, into lezi azikhulumayo zokuthi yena there will be a mass exodus and what usesiyathatha ilizwe. This is not the first time ekhuluma kanje. We know how it happened last time, or how it ended last time, and now he's back here and we still entertain this guy. Asiyekeni ukulalela abantu ababuya bezohlayaza about our problems, ababuya bezohlayaza about the seriousness of our situation. Our people are dying here, bayachiswa, bafaka buhlungu. because of the problems that we find ourselves in, because of the lost nation that we are, asila muntu osibhekeleyo. And then we have people coming to joke about this nation, this great nation, as they are doing right now. And then to those abahamba lobulelani, yini eliyenzayo for the people? What is it that you have in your hand which shows ukuthi fine, there are people who follow you, but what is it that shows ukuthi for sure this guy is the king? There are some of the things that we will not say here because zilulaza umphakathi, zilulaza isizwe. Kodwa his advisors, abo bondmen, his spokesperson, abo Hlabezulu, abo forward were around him, labo Ayanda. Why don't you sit down with Ubulelani and tell him to start behaving with the decorum of a king? We have heard abo Phathisanyati besithi Ubulelani nguyithole. And we know that he has been approached. I was the first Zimbabwean journalist to interview him about this, and he told me that he's prepared to relocate to Zimbabwe and unite this great nation. But the way he has behaved after that doesn't show that he wants to be a king of the great nation that the people of Matabeleland are. Nothing shows that he's even prepared to build this nation into what those who thought about reviving the kingdom believe will work. Why don't you sit down with him, advise him on how the people of Matabeleland behave? Because nxa ngingubaba mina eMatabeleland, I don't go in front of my children ngidakiwe ngisehluleka ukuma. Yet we have serious allegations and evidence of the so-called king of the people of Matabeleland being drunk not only once but almost every week in certain places where he's not even supposed to be. Ngaleso sikhathi is going there, misbehaving. Yazi, are we that desperate? Are we that desperate for a king? Oh, you know, I'm running short of words. But I have known, especially Ubaba Bondmen, as a man of integrity, as a man of respectability, as a man who respects himself, as a man who respects isizwe. And I believe ukuthi if he takes it upon himself to correct these wrongs, he will talk about this, he will tell the king about this, he will tell Ubulelani about this, so that he stops ezinye izinto azenzayo ukuze umphakathi nxa ujajwa ngaye ubonakale ungumphakathi ohloniphekileyo, because a king is supposed to be the paragon of virtue. He is supposed to be an example of how a nation behaves. And the people of Matabeleland are not drunkards. The people of Matabeleland are not a people who disrespect themselves. So we cannot have Amakhosi 1 who are clowns, Amakhosi 2 who are drunkards. We cannot have that. So also the elders of Khumalo now, because I believe you have been our biggest, our weakest link. What are you doing about these things if you are really the royal family? Why lingahlali phansi likhuze imhlolo lesiyibonayo of people tearing one another apart, of people just popping up, mushrooming and claiming to be the kings of the people of Matabeleland? When you are there, where are these elders? Why don't you sit down, livumelane ukuthi okay, this is the person that we are going with, and therefore these are the guidelines that this person is supposed to follow for them to be installed as king. And then you approach the government from that decorum. This is the reason why we want a kingdom, and these are the terms and references of the kingdom. Then from there, sibone ukuthi kwenziwani. I myself don't have a problem with people wanting a king, but I have problems with people presenting people abangahloniphekiyo to us kuthiwe lezi yizwe inkosi zethu. Advise these people. If Ubulelani is the chosen one, sit down with him and advise him on how he's supposed to behave. We are saying this not because we hate any of these guys who are claiming to be kings, but because we value ourselves as the people of Ndebele land. Asifuni uhamba sidelelwa phandle le. We are a nation which is great, full of great people, great business people, great academics, which can rise up in no time. But we don't do that because those who are supposed to be leading us are leading us astray. If those who have chosen to preside over the great nation do not measure up, you'd rather look elsewhere than for you to continue allowing abantu ukuthi babelokhu bedletshwa bedabulalana. It's because of these issues that you have abantu who are fly by night popping up and claiming that bona yibo amakhosi. So I think it is high time that we told each other the truth. It is high time that we pointed one another in the faces that we are silulaza. Stop this, you guys. Liyasilulaza makhumalo lonke ngokunengi benu liyasilulaza. Go back to the drawing board and review some of the decisions that you took, including abobaba ophathisa Nyathi. I'm still looking for him. I want to talk to him ukwenzela ukuthi kukhuzwe imhlola le esiphakathi kwayo. Thank you very much. Send us ama-comments wenu so that we correct this situation which is going haywire, which is going pear-shaped about the people of Ndebele land. It is high time that we stopped into zokuzidelela thina before we even look at other people stopping ukusidelela thina. Thank you very much.